Hey, Poodle fam. This is Joe Way, your host. All right, we are, I think we might have a very interesting one today. Let me tell you the downside of doing a live show. I have no idea where Kristin is. I got the confirmation email this morning and everything said looking forward to it. And I tried emailing and even calling and went to voicemail. So, this is one of those interesting shows where you hope that your guest hops on. And that's happened before, nonetheless. That has happened before where the guest has hopped on, when I'm already live on the show and you're hoping they come in. So it's always a good time. It's me sitting here talking about, I have no idea what to talk about. And if she does hop on, I'm going to assume all the audio works because she was not on early ahead of time to test it all. So this could be fun. So we're just going to roll with it, and hopefully we get a chance to talk about our charity. That was really the idea today because, being part of our community is really, it's more than just an investment token. We've always talked about that. We've talked about our utility, but more important, we've talked about us as people and as a community. So really, this is what I just keep having to look over here. This is going to be awkward. I feel like I need to move this just to make sure I see that little pop-up that someone is on here. So the thing is today, as we talk about our community, we talk about, why we even do this, and to know that when we buy, sell, hold, what we do can actually impact lives. When she hops on and I'll talk, I'm watching the chat over here. You want some heads up about the metaverse expo that I was at. We can actually talk a little bit about Vegas, and I'll get to that. But let me first, kind of go around and why a charity is important. I think a charity is important because it's always good to know that what we do impacts others. I think when we're sitting on the Telegram all day, if we're sitting on Twitter, we're doing our 9-to-5 jobs, a lot of times, crypto is, it's invisible, right? It's one of those things where we don't know, more than, a meme goes out, a community goes out, you're watching charts, but what's the actual impact behind it? And that's where we love our charity. We love that we have always given in between $500, $750, $1,000, $1,500 a couple of months we've donated, but we have consistently done that for the entire over a year. I remember Kristin was on episode 6 of the Poodlcast, and I think this is now 6D, which is crazy to think that we've been around that long. And hopefully, we can continue this great partnership with them and to see all the good that we've done. So if she doesn't hop on, we're going to just keep rolling with the show because that's what I do. And then I'm going to change the title of it and I'll later. Oh, wait, watch this. Hold on, watch this. I'm going to go episode text. I don't even know what's going to come through. Hold on. We're going to double click that and we're just going to call this episode 60. Boom. It's just episode 60 now on there. All right, there we go. See? Now, depending on whatever happens, we're going to see what happens. We even did 2,000 a couple months when those, again, it's all volume-based, just so you all know how our tokenomics work, and we've changed it a few times it's been as low as 1/3 of all of our tokenomics going toward charity, and now it is 1/3%, and now it's 0.5% of all sales go to our charity. Again, it goes where volume is. When you have a big month, then when they get more, if it's not a big one, then it goes less, right? That's just how it works. It's the same thing as when you get your redistribution, except our redistribution is at 2%. So same idea. All right, so we're winging it. We're rolling. I know, we're rolling. I've considered not making this a live show and doing it ahead of time and then releasing it every week like a normal podcast. It's when you don't have guests, you feel like, what am I going to do? All right, so we're going to roll. We're going to talk about the Metaverse Expo. All right, you all saw that was an amazing 3 days. It was really interesting. So, did we ever get pics of the dogs we sponsored? I'm not sure. I think some are, they're somewhere on the website. So, here's the thing. The Metaverse Expo ran, I can't believe it's already been 2 or 3 weeks. This life is crazy. It was, I'll say, I'm going to do kind of a stream of thought. If you saw, I actually did about a 9-10 minute video where I walked around it. I gave some ideas, thoughts of it, and I'm going to kind of tell you the same thing. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about what it was like, what to experience, what the experience was, and then also kind of some things for Poodle. Again, we can't talk a lot. There's some good connections made. There's projects and collabs that may be coming in the future. So be careful what we say because they're not all agreed upon yet. But I'm going to do a stream of consciousness here. First off, it was pretty awesome to see the whole Seek ecosystem. The Son of Doge guys were there with Mike and Darren, and it was pretty awesome to see them. They actually set up a booth, paid for a booth, and just to market their token, which was pretty rad. But beyond that, they spent their own money to put the backdrop to show all our tokens. So we had the pretty cool little poodle there represented. I sat a little bit at their booth with them, but they were working the room, they were doing their thing, and it was just really awesome to see how people got to see where us there. And here's the thing: I wore my little poodle shirt each day. Showed up with the little poodle, and it was interesting how many people recognized the logo and how would say, "Oh, here's Poodles here, Poodles here," and whether it be at the VIP nights, and that's really where the action happened. The show floor, it was a little bit small. Be honest, I mean, I would be shocked to say there were 500 people there. Probably that was the number. It was small, but it was important because a lot of people working in the metaverse space, some good projects were all represented there. Some really cool, people just trying to figure out, what to do, where this is going to go. And I think that's kind of the value of the collabs that we could have. I didn't really know what to expect. And so even just at our table, it was really cool just to kind of see the Son of Doge guys, obviously building up their thing, but really always talking about the Seek ecosystem, pointing me out that I was here, talking about the collaboration, talking about, the safety of our tokens, and it was really pretty cool to see. I got some great pictures with them, and just had a great time with them. I think that was really key. It was, to think that, with something that's only a lot of early investors, a lot of projects that are working on kind of becoming greater influence in the space, to see that we had some representation there. We even had the crypto blast, the energy drink people there are going to work with them on getting some Poodle energy drinks printed, and that is part of their line. I don't know if you know this, but the Crypto Blast drinks, you can purchase them. You can get them on Amazon and ship to you. They're still working out kind of their back end logistics, but hopefully Poodle will be there so that you can either buy your own, if you want to buy a case, it gets shipped straight to your house. You've got the Poodle logo on it. That's really key. And we're also working on some music. There's some music opportunities where we can kind of partner in. I know it's a little bit different off of where we're at, but met some great blockchain music artists who we could partner with to start utilizing our stuff with them. Again, we're all new. We're all trying to work out these different ways of doing it. But the key thing, there were some 3 major metaverses there. Really 2 big ones, the Starship and, of course, TCG, the people that put this on. The big ones, we're doing the same thing, kind of like we have Lakeview Meta, where we're going to be able to have our characters, our poodles, our NFTs all working within their ecosystem. We're working on that here too. Had some initial conversations with even putting the Poodlacademy into the metaverse, where you can come in and be a space to learn with more about Poodle within the metaverse there, while you're already in it, and utilizing both our token and our NFTs within the space, creating some special ones there as well. So that's the pretty cool thing. And guess what, everybody? Kristin has joined the room. Kristin has joined, and I'm admitting her to the Zoom call now. So hold on, I'm admitting Kristin into the Zoom call. So here we go. We'll get her on in just a second. And and there she is. Let me make sure the audio works. Can you hear me? Oh, and I can't. Hold on. Let me unmute you. All right, there we go. Now do I have you?
Can you hear me?
We've got you, and you're on.
I'm so sorry. We had a power outage and I couldn't connect, and I apologize. The heat in our area overtaxed the system. I apologize.
It's part, like, the funny thing is like, this is like my show always has like some issue or a tech issue. It's like, and it's what I do for a living, working on tech stuff. So it's like, but it happens to the show. So I'm glad you came on, and it actually worked out pretty well in the sense that I had an event to update people on. So they came in, we got to hear a little bit about that, and now you're here. So I'm
so glad. I'm so glad.
It all works out that I had stuff. So everyone on the chat saying hi and welcome. And for those who don't know, please just introduce yourself and talk a little bit about Canines for Disabled Kids.
So I'm Kristin Hartness. I'm the Executive Director of Canines for Disabled Kids. We are a nonprofit based in Worcester, Massachusetts, and we work mostly throughout the United States and do some work into Canada, and sporadic work in other countries as well. We are focused on helping children with disabilities obtain fully trained and reputably trained service dogs to help them be more independent. So we do that. We offer scholarships to help them financially. We do education and awareness programs, and we travel. If they're having problems with their schools or their communities, we go in and we go to bat for them so that they don't have to. So that's who we are and what we do. I've been doing it for 20 years now. So, and the company's a little bit older than that.
Wow. No, that is awesome. It's, as I was saying before you hopped on, that like part of our community, like we're a cryptocurrency where it's obviously an investment, it's all that, but to know that what we do can actually impact real lives. I know when I had you on episode 6, and now we're at 60, which is crazy.
Wow.
I know. And I've done it every week without missing a week. So this is amazing to like reconnect. You said something that like really hit me. You said how, part of what you gave out the previous year was helping out 6 kids. So talk from then. How many more have been paired with service dogs? Can you talk now that we've actually, been more regular donors? Can you talk about the impact?
So first, let me talk about the impact, because one of the really wonderful things about this partnership with Poodle is that you have been a regular monthly donor since the beginning. You have never missed a month. You worked up and up and up. And right now I checked with my bookkeeper this morning, and she said, you've been donating approximately $1,500 a month for many months now. That impact and that reliability is huge for an organization like us to know that we can rely on you, that you're there and you're making that monthly impact is massive for us. So, so first of all, that just says a lot about you as a community, and a lot about what you do for us as as an organization. When organizations do not have monthly support, it's very hard to budget. It's very hard to accomplish the things that we need to. That being said, this past year, we awarded some of our largest scholarships in a very long time, because of support from you. And so, obviously things come together in a compilation, but you were a significant part of that. You allowed us to award scholarships almost double what we were doing the previous year, and in the dollar amount. And we've been doing about almost 20 scholarships a year now since we last spoke. So that's pretty exciting. I don't have the exact breakdown on numbers because I couldn't find. I'm sorry. I was like, wait, when did we exactly last talk? I wanted to get you exact numbers, but we've had a greater increase of requests. We've had a greater increase of even folks just looking for help before they're ready for a scholarship. We've had a significant increase, and we've been able to meet that increase. We hired a new staff person last June, so that was super exciting, and she's been on board a year now, and that's growth. That's having support allows us to bring on more people to support more families. So there's 4 of us. We're still not a huge program, which is great because we all get involved, but you've had that impact. You've made that huge difference. And so we're getting ready for our next round. We're in the process of gathering our next group. And it looks that will be awarded in January. Nice. So we're at the beginning of that process, but it's only July, and we only started preparing for January on July 1st. I already have 6. Wow. So if that's where we are now, we're headed to a big group in January as well.
That is awesome. I love it. Like, it gives me chills to realize, to know that we can help in such a tangible way. And, and for our investors, the funny thing is it's a passive way of helping, because it just comes out of the natural. When people buy and sell, it's just 1/2 of 1% of every transaction ends up getting to you. And right now, everyone knows economically, the entire market is down, the entire economy is down. And so when that picks up, just how that's going to take off and end up helping more, and to know that just by being part of the community, you're helping just by being part of the community, is what's pretty awesome to me.
It's really so fabulous, because by really being purpose driven like that, you've given your investors the option to say, for simply choosing us, you're going to do good, right? Yep. For simply doing what you were going to do anyways, but doing it with us, you are doing good and impacting hundreds of people, and just really making that change, I think, is massive. Massive.
No, absolutely. And that's awesome. Like, it's even hard to interview when I'm just all excited. I'm all excited about it. So now, you said you're already at 6. You start the process. Do you have a goal for this year? Like, you went from, you were 6 before, now you're at 20 this last year. What's your goal for this next year?
I think it would be. I think 20 is probably a realistic number for this for the year. It is. It's hard to set a higher. It's hard to set a higher goal, in part because I'm always worried about funding, right? So but the more funding we get, so as the year goes on, we award in January and June. So so January will probably be one that I'll be like, ooh, I hope, where are we money wise and everything. And then by June, I'll be like, oh my gosh, look at all these additional ones we can give, because that's really how my mindset goes. But we're also, another piece of this has to do with the training programs themselves. So we are not expecting a large increase in applicants for this coming year because the training programs themselves are just starting to recover from COVID. So during COVID, they had to drop a lot of dogs, which put a gap in their available dogs. So we don't get the applications for scholarships until the training programs have accepted them as clients. So it's like going to school, right? You get accepted at a college and then you get your scholarships. So my anticipation is that this coming year will be about the same that we're seeing right now, which is an increase from last year, but not a major increase next year. It's the year after when I anticipate that we'll be able to see bigger numbers. And as I talk with more and more of the training programs, I'll have a better idea of what those kind of numbers will be, because they're indicators, as they're doing more dogs, we'll get more scholarship applications.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. And I love that. I love your sense of reality, yet sense of hope in seeing how it's going to keep going, which is awesome to see. Can you tell, again, I kind of made an assumption because you've been on before, but we have a lot of new investors since you were on and maybe haven't listened back to previous episodes. Talk a little bit about the types of kids, types of dogs, like what is that process, and what types of kids are being helped by this?
So service dogs in general are dogs that have been trained to do individual work or tasks. You can hear one of mine in the background. He's almost retired, so he's getting a little more relaxed as time goes on. They have to be trained to do work that does not provide emotional support or companionship, because we're going to get emotional support companionship because it's a dog. Okay. The work that they're trained to do is individual to the disability of the individual. Now, that being said, it may be that two people with the same disability have different trained skills. How does that disability impact them? What do they need? They work with people with all disabilities, physical and psychological. It's really a matter of, can a dog be taught to do something that makes you more independent? And in our area, we specialize in working with children, because they were really an area that is really underserved. A lot of programs only want to work with adults. I'm glad for the adults, but the kids need this. The earlier we can get access tools, which is what these are in line with your wheelchairs, your canes, your eyeglasses, your hearing aids. So the earlier we can get tools to the individual, the faster that person can learn how to use their tools, can be as productive and independent as possible with as little lag, right?
Yeah.
With as little lag educationally, with as little lag socially. So the youngest children that we've worked with have been for seizures, and they've been just under the age of 5. They received dogs that alerted their parents to coming seizures.
Wow.
The majority of places that we work with like the children to be about 5, because they want the children to really be able to interact with the dogs well. So we're seeing seizures and diabetes. We're seeing cerebral palsy. We're seeing muscular dystrophy. We're seeing amputees. We're seeing autism. We're seeing conditions, psychiatric conditions like PTSD. I mean, we have worked with some individuals who were involved in mass shootings and such,
Wow.
and have dogs that are helping them, alerting to tells, alerting to situations, so that they're able to move forward in life instead of stopping.
Yeah.
So this is a non-discriminatory tool, in that it is with everybody. It's with all disabilities. And when we talk about the dogs, they're all over the board too, right? We see mostly labs and goldens, but we do see mixed breeds, especially a lab golden mix, which is really, really successful in the industry. But we see poodles, and we see terriers, and we see collies, and We see male dogs and female dogs equally. So it's this great, great mix that touches on so many people and so many opportunities.
Wow. No, that's so good. So you made me think a couple things. So first, beyond the, it seems to me, and tell me if I'm wrong here, that besides like even just the physical help and the like to help them with, you know, the disability, it also seems that that kids with special needs often can be, you know, not have the same social connections with other kids have, and having a service dog with them can also give them that mental health too, by having a true companion with them. That has to be part of it for their growth too.
Absolutely. So the way I like to describe it is like a cupcake. Okay. So the service dog part is the cake part of the cupcake. And then the emotional, the mental health, the social icebreakers are really the frosting. Mm-hmm. So we can have lots of frosting, but we always have to have the cupcake too. You can't just eat the frosting. That's what my mom always told me. So that's how we look at it here. So we do find, especially with children, that trainers who specialize in working with kids are teaching the dogs some bonus behaviors. So they're not service dog skills, but they're behaviors that help children and some adults as well to be icebreakers and make friends and sleep better. Simply having the dog sleep with you in bed can increase your quality of sleep. Petting the dog when you're in a stressful situation lowers your blood pressure. So having all of that on top of the ability to pick up an object without having to wait for somebody to have time to help you or to help you. These dogs are helping us get dressed, make the bed, put away the toys. They're taking things in and out of lockers. They're freeing students up from needing, in some cases, one-on-one aides that are following them around in the school to make sure that they can open doors or access bathrooms and things like that. So when you put those two pieces together, they are an amazing tool. I mean, I had a mom several years ago tell me her daughter had had a stroke at the age of 2. And she was 10 years old when I met her and assisted with her getting a service dog. Woman said to me that her daughter had never been invited to a birthday party ever, because the other children were really uncomfortable and a bit afraid of this wheelchair. And can they talk to her? She talks a little differently? Can they ask questions? And often as adults, we do things like don't stare, don't talk about that. And that just isolates people. Well, having the service dog gave these children, and it gives other folks too, the ability to approach you in a safe way. Why do you have that dog? Your dog is so beautiful. How come? Tell me what your dog does. Can I meet your dog? Can I pet your dog? And then it breaks through that awkwardness of, why do you have a wheelchair? What happened? Are you okay? Is there something I can help you with? It gives a safe way for people to do that. And so she got this beautiful dog who helped her be more independent, but also had the bonus of being that icebreaker and allowing other children to get to know her and really be friends with her and include her in a normal social life for 10-year-olds.
Wow, that is awesome. I can see that. Just to see how many different ways it can impact, right, is really what's amazing. Everyone on the chat is loving the pictures in your background, by the way.
Thank you.
To see real kids with the real dogs and just to see their smiles is really awesome. And
they're thrilled. You can see it, right? You can see it even through the pictures, even through the Zoom screen. You can see that they are they're happy and they're relaxed and they're excited and their confidence is built. A number of these kids have gone on to college with their dogs have attended college with them. One young lady who's fully blind, she lost both of her eyes to cancer, ran track and field with her guide dog. You can see that through the pictures, and imagine how much more that is out when we go beyond, when you get to meet them in person.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So now also, I think you talked about this a little bit last time you were on, but so now how are poodles as service dogs?
They're good. Actually, they're not the best. I'm sorry to say they're not the best. Mostly because they do tend to get they do tend to get a little picky. Okay. So poodles are like a number
trust
of
me,
other
our
breeds.
entire community is very picky, so it fits
Okay,
perfectly.
so
All
you
right,
understand
so keep going.
this, right? Like the labs and the goldens, if you have a speech impediment, if you have compromised body structure, the labs and the goldens are like, we got this. Try again. It's okay. The poodles are like, did you say sit? Because if you didn't, I don't think that I will. They really want somebody who can articulate, or they really want somebody who has good upper body strength. We see that. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rule. But actually in this group here, I don't know if folks can see, but in this direction over here, about in the middle, there's a blonde child, a blonde girl, and that's a brown poodle that's working with her. And so that's one of the poodles, but that's about the ratio that we see poodles. So I think there's 2 folks with poodles in my collection here compared to the lab. You'll see mostly labs, goldens, and such, but we love the poodles. They actually are super important to the industry though, because they are hair breed dogs. And there are people who have dog dander allergies, but still want to use a service dog. So a poodle or a poodle cross that is breeding true with hair are very successful. So we love poodles.
Okay, good. And I like things that have hair, because I miss mine. So that works. No, that is awesome. So also last time you came on, I asked you a question about what you thought about crypto, and you weren't too new. Have you learned a little more? Have you experimented a little bit more?
So I've learned a little bit more. Our board members have sampled. We have added crypto to our investment portfolio. It's not a huge piece yet, but we have stuck our toes in the water there. So we're kind of excited about that. I'm still pretty confused about some of it on a personal level, but I'm learning, and I have we have some folks who are affiliated with the organization who are very, very thrilled with crypto. So they're helping to bring me along. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I mean, we foresee times where, especially us as a community, we see it as a future. Digital currency is a future, and obviously we believe in it, or wouldn't be doing what we do. But it's great to see that, and hopefully, we can continue to build our partnership too, where people can, even continue to donate independently, with either their own poodle, or of course they always can with cash and all of that. But we love to be able to continue to support that, and I like to see that. That's great that you're getting more into it. So there you go.
Absolutely,
I love it.
I learn. I'm slow to the party, but I come.
Yeah. Well, no, it is really awesome. It is really awesome. So I've also seen, kind of following you on the socials and all of that, and see you've been out traveling a lot and getting to a lot of different shows and doing things with kind of building up your community. So what is just in the general, like, to get our people excited, not just about the, obviously we want to support the kids and we love to see the scholarships grow, but we want to see your organization grow as well. What's your vision for the next year? How are you looking to just grow yourselves?
So we are definitely looking to expand. We've been really excited. We started in last June. So June 2021 was our first travel after COVID. So that was pretty exciting for us. And we have been all over the country. We are preparing. We'll be in Texas in a couple of weeks. We'll be in Houston. Please think cool thoughts for us, because Houston is a miserably hot place, but it's an amazing place to connect with people who need our services. So I would if we are ever in an area that you're in, if it's a venue that I'm going to that's open to the public, please come and say hi. I'd love to meet more folks that are involved in the poodle community, because it'd be great. And a lot of the things that I do are open to the public. the Abilities Expos, which I will say, I have to shout out to you guys because you are so phenomenal about liking and sharing. And every time I travel and my posts are shared by Poodle folks, there's more people. All of a sudden I get notices. You have a new follower. You have a new It's so exciting. So thank you for bringing more people to us through that. It's great. But the Abilities Expos are free to attend. So come say hi and meet me. But I really want more of that. We meet so many people and then bring them through the process and help them, whether it's to get a service dog or if they're not a good candidate for a service dog, we help them to really understand why they're not and help them to understand other options, because there are other options. There are things they can do with emotional support animals or with directed animal therapies. And while that's not my focus, it's part of what we do. And I really want to build that so that we can help the families make sure that they're getting the right resources, whether that's a service dog or not, because the last thing I want to do is leave a family like, oops, sorry, can't help you. Have a nice day. So these venues that we're able to speak at, if you know people who would like us, send them our way. We're happy. We'd love to come speak and connect with more people. I think that's an area that I really want to grow, because that area will grow our scholarships as well. It brings people in, it helps them, and then feeds them up into the scholarships.
Yeah, I love that. And I love, we do have like 130,000 followers on Twitter. So every time we put out there, I'm glad that you're able to get more and more support, because I think that is another way to help, right? And beyond just, donations, just getting more people aware of your community, because then they might know someone who knows someone, right? That's the kind of the idea of building that network up, so I think that's kind of the cool thing. Next, she's frozen. So it's either me or it's her. So either she had now I don't know. Is my internet out or is it hers? No. Oh, is Kristin still there? Do you hear me? Hopefully she didn't have another power outage, but I'm going to keep going either way. Cause I was going to be kind of closing up the show. Well, let's see. Blackout. I know. Rolling power blackouts. 150,000. So let me be corrected. We have 150,000. So it looks like Kristin is frozen here. And it isn't me, because I'm seeing the chat still roll. So that's good. And there she goes. And she's off. Power outage went out again. But that being said, if she hops back on, great. I'll ask her a last question. If not, I'll close up the show. Everyone, this was great. What a great opportunity to talk a little bit about our donations, Poodle, also to talk about a little bit of the Metaverse conference. So that was pretty awesome. And to see how we can have an impact. Well, you realize that. What did she say early on? They went from 6 to 20. And our donations was a big part of that, of those, obviously they do other fundraising, they do all kinds of things, but to see that we could have a physical impact on real lives is really amazing. And that's what we can't lose track of. I know we're always talking about all of our collabs. We're talking about how our token is doing. Are we pumping? What's the direction? How is the market doing? But let's not forget how we can do some real good overall. And that's the key. So I love it. I'm proud of this community. I will continue and do some more talking about the Metaverse Expo. I doubt she's going to come back on. I'm sure it's a power outage. But a little bit about the Metaverse Expo too. We do have some collaborations. The big thing is we have some more Metaverse collaborations. We have some more partnership collaborations coming. Working on talking to a few people on how we can get, picture our own world, our own land within the metaverse for some of these key metaverses, or, even we have in, say, the Starship one where we can have our own Poodle Starship. It would be pretty cool, our own land, our own planets. There's different opportunities there. And again, being able to use Poodle as currencies and in currencies and bring your NFT, if you bought a 3D NFT, that it can be, brought into that metaverse. And here we go. Oh, she's back. She's back. And let's see. I think she's back. Oh, I'm letting her in. And there she is. She's connecting on. And you're back. Wait, was it another power outage?
I think so. It must, because everything like beeped around here, and then and then you were gone. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I love technology.
But I kept the show rolling. So I kept the show rolling. But we are coming near the end. I was only going to have one more question for you, so it actually works out. So, last question then. Because you kind of talked about it, especially getting around. I know I think you were in LA at one point. I wanted to come and see you, but I happened to be traveling that week. But I was hoping to come in and see you in person. But so now, let's say, obviously we love donating, we love doing that and giving financially. But what about someone locally? Like, what can someone who cares do in their own community, whether it be specifically with Canines for Disabled Kids, or just in general? How can they help kids who might need service animals, et cetera? What's something that, and again, maybe people don't even have money to donate, but they have the ability and some time.
So I think there's a number of things people can do. One thing to do is to be aware of the rules and aware of your community. Okay. Service dogs have access when they're with their people to all spaces the public is allowed into. So that's everywhere, right? That's grocery stores, that's movie theaters, that's restaurants, that's everywhere. Okay. And it's important for you to be aware of these things, because you might need to be the person to stand up. Okay. You also might need to be the person who says, how does somebody even get into your building? Right? How does somebody have access into your building? So making business owners aware that their space is not accessible can just really open your community up, and that's a huge piece. Spreading the word is massive. So, sharing our posts, taking that information. If there's information you want us to send you that you could have hard copy to share in your community, we're happy to do that. We have some things are available to download off our website, but we can send you hard copies if that's what you prefer. Maybe you have a craft, or maybe you have a skill that you would like to offer. We had a group of students a couple of years ago that they took felt and like Polar Tech kind of fabrics, and they made dog toys, which they then sent to us so that we could gift them to the kids when they were receiving their dogs. Maybe you want to make another purchase. So there are other programs, like if you shop Amazon, shop Smiles Amazon and pick us, and it's as easy as what you're doing when you invest in Poodles, because all you do is shop, and then Amazon donates a percentage. And if enough people do that, that makes another huge difference. So if you're already doing some of those things, just be conscious about where you are. But if you're in our area, feel free to give us a shout at the office. We do have an event coming up in November, and rappel off a building with us. We'd love to have you. But yeah, be creative. Be creative. There's always something you can do in your community to spread the word.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, simple things like just using your Amazon, is something that people don't think about, just helping and really being aware. I work in higher education, and, the pandemic, to me, I realize how many people have learning disabilities or have others that weren't really known before the pandemic. And then all of a sudden they got exposed. And so I think like one things we're doing both with Poodle and we're doing at USC is really building a lot into the metaverse. And we know that a lot of, kids with disabilities, you can, the metaverse and virtual reality is a great equalizer, a great way to be able to learn, because they're not held by the physical world. So I'm going to say even too, we need to work on a partnership. Sasha, I know Sasha is listening here. I'm going to throw out an idea that as we work with our metaverse partnerships, we need to do a collaboration together where we will create official line, a limited edition of Canines for Disabled Kids NFTs that will go into the metaverse. Everyone who buys one, then we will give an extra one to you to give out to one of your kids, so they can be able to use it within the virtual world. I'm throwing it out there. I just made this up, but you know what? I'm one of the admins now. As CTO, I can make that power, but I think that's a collaboration we should work on and continue to work on, because we can now help kids too in that way, let them, experience, the metaverse, virtual reality, and also we can help and have some other investors and stuff with that. So I think that's something we should continue to work on. I got that idea as we were sitting here talking, because there are different ways that we can help and be able to invest in one another. So I love it. Then the very last thing as we close up, just tell people how they can find Canines for Disabled Kids, follow, connect, and do all that stuff.
So you can find us. Our website is caninesforkids.org. You can follow us on Facebook, Canines for Disabled Kids. You can follow us on Instagram, Canines for Disabled Kids, and you can follow us on Twitter at Canine for Kids. That's K9 4 KIDS. You can probably find me on LinkedIn as well if you want to connect with me professionally there. But give us a shout, follow us, push our, share our posts. And thank you so much for all you're already doing. And together we are going to do amazing things. I
totally agree. Thank you so much for coming on. We made it through the tech issues, so thank you so much. I look forward to having you on again. And it will be, it's amazing to see this and look forward to the continued future together. So thank you very much for joining the show.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Hey, you too. All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I did. It was amazing to have her on, and it's great to see the impact of what we can do. Great opportunities, and I'm looking forward to our continued future together. So everyone, hopefully you liked this show. Enjoy, share it out. This is a great opportunity to show how what we do has real impact. So that being said, I will see you all next week. Have a good one, Poodle fam.